So he left in the morning with the money in his pocket. He felt very pleased of himself. We are also sometimes pleased of doing wrong things. Here he was pleased for stealing money. But he was more pleased not for stealing money. He had some money in his pocket which he had never had for a very long time. So he was pleased. With his smartness, he realized, of course, at first he dared not continue on the public highway. Why? Because on the public highway he might get caught. On the public highway he might get caught. But because when the crofter would come home, he would let the police know. As soon as they would let the police know, they would start looking for such a man. And such a man would not be difficult to find, because you will not need a character sketch or picture to be drawn. Anybody can identify such a man. That is a homeless man. He has rat traps dangling on his chest. He is in rags. He has nothing, and you will find him. So it is very easy to catch him. So he did not go on the public highway, but must turn off the road into the woods, into the jungle. He went into the jungle. During the first hours, this caused him no difficulty. So he left in the morning. So first hours will be morning to afternoon. From morning to afternoon, he had no difficulties. Chal.
Later in the day, it became worse, for it was a big and confusing forest which he had gotten into. He tried, to be sure, to walk in a definite direction, but the paths straight back and forth so straight.
So he got, basically this line says, he got lost. He got lost. It was confusing, big, he had gotten into, he tried to walk straight, but he got lost.
He walked and walked without coming to the end of the road, and finally he realized that he had only been walking around in the same part of the forest.
So this also can mean he was going around in circles. Yes or no? He was going around in circles and he had got lost.
All at once he recalled his thoughts about the world and the red sun. Now his own turn had come. He had felt himself being fooled by a bait and he had been caught. The whole forest, with its trunks and branches, thickets and fallen logs, closed in upon him like an impenetrable prison from which he could never escape. It was
Oh,
day.
hold on. So he got lost, and now his own philosophy is coming back to bite him. Remember, the world is a rat trap, and you take the bait and you get caught in the rat trap. What is the bait? The riches. So over here, what is the bait that he took? The 30 kroner. That is the bait he took. He stole. Like the rats steal cheese, he stole the 30 kroner of the crofter. All at once he recalled his own thoughts about the world and the rat trap. And now his turn had come. He had gotten caught in a rat trap. He had let himself be fooled by a bait. What was the bait? 30 kroner. And had been caught. And now he's saying the whole world, remember? The whole world with its seas, villages, cities, everything gets closed. So over here, the woods, what do they have? They have branches of trees. They have thickets of trees. They have fallen logs of trees. They have other animals and everything. And he's closed now in the jungle. Closed in upon him like an impenetrable, something which you cannot break or leave from. Such a prison is an impenetrable prison from which he could never escape. So he is feeling that he is going to get lost, and maybe one wild animal, one bear is going to come and kill him, eat him up. That is what he is thinking. Because what did he do? The philosophy of karma also over here. Jaisi karni, waisi bharni. So he did wrong thing. So now people know about it, but people don't want to act on it. We know that if we don't study, we will not get what we want, what we deserve. We know jaisi karni, waisi bharni, but we don't want to do that. We want to rely on other things. Or we say that but we don't have that goal, and that is why we fail. For us also, world is a rat trap. You sit in classroom all day long and then your progress at the end of the year is mindo, zero. Why? Because you know you need to act, but nobody wants to act. Sure.
It was late in December. Darkness was already descending over the forest. This increased the danger and increased also his gloom and despair. Finally, he saw no way out, and he sank down on the ground, tried to death, thinking that his last moment had come. But just as he laid his head on the ground, he heard a sound, a hard, regular thumping.
Okay. So remember fairy tale? In fairy tales, what happened? Problems occur, and then suddenly, magically, solutions occur. Right? So there was a problem. He was going. He did not have place to stay. He knocked the door. Crofter allowed him with food and everything. Yes or no? He showed him the money. He stole the money. Problem got solved. Then he again got caught in the problem. What was the problem? Getting lost in the forest. Now when he's got lost in the forest, what happens? It was December. Now, December, country like Sweden, how would be the weather? Harsh. You have to think. Words are important. When you say December, what is December? But if you think and visualize, you come to know it might be snowing, it might be raining. It's a Scandinavian country. So it is hard in the night. Remember? Just by getting lost in the forest, and if the snow falls, he might just die because of the cold. Darkness was already descending over the forest. So now it has become, he started in the morning, it has become evening. This increases the danger and increases gloom and despair. Gloom means depression. Despair means hopelessness. Danger not just from the forest, danger from cold weather, and also wild animals who are roaming around, who are hungry in the night. Finally, he saw no way out. He had got lost and he sank down on the ground. And what is sinking down on the ground? He gave up. Tired of that. Tired of that means he was tired of walking all day. Thinking that his last moment had come, he was going to die. Because anyways, he is thinking about dying every day. Because he has nothing else to do. So now he has taken the money, his philosophy is coming back to him. He is stuck in a forest, it is night. And now again a fairy tale kind of thing occurs. But just as he had laid his head on the ground, he heard a sound, a hard, regular thumping sound. So we'll know that he has found sound. And then this sound we'll come to know is from the Ramsjo Iron Works, where in the factory they are thumping the iron ore on an anvil in the factory. So the factory is making noise. Now, when you hear the noise, what happens? You can follow the noise and go in the direction of the factory, and then at least you can find a way. So, problem, solution, problem, solution. Fairy tale. Do you think problems get solved sometimes this easily? When you have not really worked on solving your problems? You don't want to work on your whatever, physics, chemistry, mathematics, economics, accounts, maths for a very long period of time, and you want suddenly in your head that you should know each and every problem in the textbook. How is that going to happen? That only happens in a fairy tale. It happens in a fairy tale. It doesn't happen in real life. Chalo.
There was no doubt as to what that was. He raised himself. Those are the famous shoes from an iron he thought. There must be people nearby. He summoned all his strength, got up, and staggered in the direction of the sound. The Ramsjo Iron Works.
Okay, he gathered all his strength, got up and staggered in the direction of the sound. This is clear. He did not want to go, but now fairy tale kind of thing happened. He heard the sound. He understood there is somebody, there is a factory, there is an iron factory. So if he goes, he will be saved. In the iron factory, in the iron ore factory, animals will also not come because there is heat. And animals are afraid of heat. Animals are afraid of fire. Anytime you encounter a wild animal, if you show them fire, they'll run away. Why? because they lost their lives for millions of years in the jungle because of forest fires. They could not save themselves. That is why their brain also, God has, in their brain also there is a small computer. Not complete. Human brains are the best computers, but they don't want to use it. They want to use it for all other things. Animals also have that. So why are they afraid? Because for ancient times they have, and their families and their generations have died. So in their DNA, bio, there is a computer where God has kept this idea that if you see anything red, fire, heat, run away. Why? Because they will not be able to save themselves from the fire. Chalo.
There are 12 which are now closed down, were not so long ago. Large plants, smelters, rolling mill, and forge.
Okay. So people will say which are now closed down. How are they closed down? When the work is going on, the scale has reduced. Scale has reduced. Earlier, it was a very large plant. It was a very large plant. It was a very large plant, and now the operations have become very slow or very less. Very slow or very less. And then if somebody wants to become a mechanical engineer, there is a idea over here. It was a large plant with smelting. Smelt has the word melt. You first melt the iron. You must have learned this a little bit in science. Malleability and ductility. Have you heard such words? In sheets and wires. Roll. Roll means to roll them. When you roll a sheet of paper, you roll metal. Iron ore has to be rolled. You mill them. Mill them means cut them, shape them. And forge them. Forge them means to beat and give them a shape. If somebody does mechanical engineering in this class, they will come to know. I have a sign over here in my hand. When I was in my mechanical engineering class, we had to forge, and then piece of metal went inside. There's this white spot still there. Here and there's one here. It happened because I did not know. I am not a blacksmith. But you learn all of this if you have to do engineering. There's a class called workshop. In that they teach you carpentry, fabrication, forging, all of this. They have a special class called workshop. So if somebody wants to become a mechanical engineer, they will come to know. You will have to study this in detail. There will be a subject where they will teach you what are furnaces. So in iron ore factory, you need a giant furnace, and they will teach you how to work in a furnace. In our college, we had one of the oldest furnaces in the world, which was shut actually. Giant furnace, as big as almost this building. And it was not working, so our teachers used to take us inside the furnace. Imagine you are walking into a cave with batteries, and we saw the internal parts. This is this old. The furnace was built by a company called Babcock and Wilcox. They are not there in the market right now. British company, Babcock and Wilcox. Nowadays, the company that manufactures furnaces in our country, the name of the company is Thermax. Why am I telling you all of this? So that if you become a mechanical engineer and if you do well in life, then there is a chance that you might be able to work for such companies or learn from them and build your own businesses. These big things are sometimes called pressure vessels. Chalo, we don't want to get into that detail. Coming back to the point. So, these are just 4 processes they have mentioned over here. There are multiple processes that happen in a iron ore factory. Chalo.
In the summertime, long lines of heavily loaded barges and stores slid down the canal, which led to a large inland lake. And in the wintertime, the roads near the mill were black
So you must have seen crates. Crates are these wooden pieces of, things that you put on the floor, and on that you load your things. And generally in a factory they have a forklift. The forklift has two forks like that. It goes in the crate, and if it lifts the crate, and then it takes it and then puts it away. In modern days mechanical engineering or IT, there are these automated robots and forklifts working in many companies. They come, they lift the thing and they put it on the shelf. Then there would be a small drone which will go up, pull that small thing and bring it down. If you go to an Amazon warehouse, very big, you will find such things happening all the time. Coming back to the point. So, in the summertime, long lines of heavily loaded barges and scows slid down the canal. Now, what is this? Again, we are geniuses, so we'll not be able to imagine all of this. So, if this is the factory, it is on a mountain, and the mountain has a canal which goes by it on the bottom. Draw, my dear friends. And what would the company do to save money is they would have these wooden crates on which they would put iron and put them on the top of the canal in the water over here. Which energy is converted into which energy, geniuses? Potential energy is converted to, what do I know about this SHIT? And then it is automatic. So what do you save on? Save money, resources. Everybody thinks of that. Energy. But only my students don't think of it. They think energy is infinite. They say energy cannot be created or destroyed. There will be geniuses in this class, but you still need to conserve it. If you don't conserve it, what will happen? It will go away. You will get it again, but the more conservation, the more you can use it. We have not been able to solve that problem. We don't have the Tesla battery packs yet. Coming back to the point. So, in the summer, because the water is flowing, what would happen? They would just put it there and then it will go down, and from the down they will supply it everywhere. Money saved. And in the winter they had to take bullock carts or carts and everything. Yes or no? And there will be marks on the ground. And then the iron ore would have some debris on it. So there would be, where the bullock cart would go, it would leave this debris from the iron ore, shifting of the iron ore through the crates. So if somebody is following a bullock cart path, they will reach the factory. But it is all visible because there is snow on the ground. And how is the debris of the iron ore? Black in color. And then there are also signs of this bullock cart rolling on the ice or the snow. So then you can easily figure out where the factory is. So they used in the winter because the canal is what? Frozen, bhaiya. Frozen. फ्रोजन हुआ बोलते हैं उसको. फ्रोजन हुआ होता है तो पोटेंशियल व एनर्जी व काइनेटिक व एनर्जी में कन्वर्ट नहीं होता. बट अगर आपको सप्लाई नहीं करना है तो आप रख दो. विंटर के बाद जब समर में मेल्ट हो जाएगा तो ऑटोमेटिक नीचे चला जाएगा. आर यू गेटिंग माई पॉइंट और नॉट? सो दिस इज जस्ट दैट आइडिया. What is the idea? In summertime, long lines of heavily loaded barges and scows slid down the canal. You understood that point? You drew that point over here? Yes or no? And then in the winter, what happened? The roads near the mill were black from all the coal dust which passed through the wooden crates, which were put on big charcoal crates. Clear or not clear? So one is from the iron the thing will fall down, and other is also they need coal to be supplied to run the furnace. So that coal, when it goes up also, it leaves that small debris of the coal on the way. Yes or no? Are you getting my point or no? Furnaces, old furnaces. So we also get our electricity in our country mostly from coal. You are not reading in this class, but I don't know. Just in recent times we created a nuclear energy reactor using thorium. Why? Because we need to be energy sufficient. Though if we are not energy sufficient, it is okay. We can sleep in the class. But in the country needs to be energy efficient. Coming back to the point. You got this much? Got this much? Chalo. You're writing down? For whom? Okay. Good job. Chalo.
During one of the long dark evenings just before Christmas, Master Smith and his helper sat in a large room near the furnace waiting for the big iron, which had been put in the fire, to be ready to cook.
Okay. During one of the long dark evenings, this is the day. Again, one dark evenings, fairy tale. Just before Christmas. So this was around Christmas. So December, earlier they told us December. We'll come to know it is about 23rd or 24th December. The master smith, the main smith, the main worker, and his helper sat near the dark forge near the furnace, waiting for the pig iron. Pig iron is in the rawest form. Then you convert it into the pure form of irons, which had been put into fire to be ready to put on the anvil. Anvil is a big table like this, and you put, it's a big heavy table. On it there is an anvil. Anvil is a thing which will not melt even when you put hot iron on it. It is even stronger metal than that, and then you heat it to give it shape. They say even gold has a lot of value, but you cannot purify it without melting it. So there's a parable in spirituality that the God has to sit with the best of the human beings as gold in his hands. So this is gold, God, human beings. He has to put them into fire so that they get pure gold. So difficulties are part of life. Nobody is going to become pure gold unless they are going to get burnt in fire. And who does that for us? God. He puts difficulties in our life so that He can purify our souls. So metal has to get purified. They say diamonds are not created without pressure. So they had to melt and then heat and give it shape. Chalo, that was their business.
Every now and then, one of them got up to the stir with the glowing mass with long iron bar, returning in a few moments, dripping with perspiration, though, as was the custom, he wore nothing but a long shirt and a pair of glasses.
Okay. So every now and then one of them got up to stir the glowing mass with a long iron bar. What is the glowing mass? It is the iron, melted iron. And why it had to be stirred? It had to be stirred because if you don't stir it, some of the iron will go and solidify itself at the bottom. So you have to continuously stir it so that it does not get solidified in the furnace at the bottom. Stir up the glowing mass with a long iron bar, returning in a few moments, dripping with perspiration. Perspiration here means sweat. They say perspire on the ground and you win the matches. Perspire in the class and you do well in life. Our perspiration in the class, AC classrooms, how do they come by? By writing, by solving, by taking one page and going through it 10 times. By going in details like we are going now for this chapter. It doesn't happen automatically in the brain unless you install a chip. Though as was the custom was remain almost naked. You can tell me why. They were just wearing a shirt and wooden shoes. Because the furnace are extremely hot. So you cannot wear too many clothes. So they just wear a shirt so that they protect themselves from the flying molten iron. And just wooden shoes so that while stirring the molten iron would not burn their feet. These are called safety equipments. Write down. Again, in a lab they will not allow you. You go to this chemistry lab and you wear an apron. It is a very basic thing of safety. You go to university where you do mechanical civil engineering courses, you will have to go to a workshop and you will have to wear safety equipment. Sir, where was your safety equipment when it got hurt? I went to a government college, one of the best. So government colleges don't have resources. So you have to figure things out on your own. So we had to figure things out on our own. Why are you studying? So that you can go to maybe a good private university where there would be people to help you and have resources. But we don't care. Coming back to them. Why were they wearing no clothes? Because it is extremely hot. It is some 1000 degrees Celsius temperature or hundreds of degree temperature in the furnace. And people who have spent their life in AC rooms all their life, can they survive in the furnace? But don't become a mechanical engineer. In internships, you will have to work in such firms. Then don't think of becoming a great person. Tesla factories don't have ACs. Factories don't have generally ACs. They have open sheds. So don't become a mechanical engineer if you are used to AC. And people don't directly sit in AC offices. Sophie dreamed of that. Do you think she is directly going to sit in an AC office, become a manager? But these are our dreams and this is the reality. Chalo.
All the time there were many sounds in the forge.
There were many sounds in the forge because there was process happening. Whenever in life process happens to you, there is noise. So if you will write more, you have not written more, but for the board exam you will write more, your hand will pay. And they say there is no gain without pain, but your handwriting will improve, you will get the marks. So anything that goes through process makes noise. Can you imagine in this classroom boiling water? You put water in a vessel and then you allow it to boil. When you go near, what sound will you get? Sound, no? Some sound of boiling. What is happening? The water is transforming. Processes are required. Processes are required. Do you think human beings will come out in life without a process? They will eat all day, sleep all day, and then they think they can do things? No. You will get pains. You will have trials, you have tribulations, then you go through the process. Doodling is good. Go to the art classroom. Chalo. Or I should read line by line and just say, ho gaya. कर देते चलो.
The big bellows from the burning coal track.
So now sounds, senses, we don't use it enough. The big bellows, air blowing instrument. You have to blow the air in the furnace to keep the coal running, burning. So those bellows, those fans like this were making noise. And the burning coal cracks. See, even the coal when it cracks, it makes noises. Process. It is transforming. People say too difficult. I don't want to do. You will not be able to do. You are a donkey. You have to pass through process. Then only you will purify, then only you will get the results. Sir, I want to get into whatever, this college, but I don't want to work for it. Thank you. You are helping yourself. You will have to transform yourself through a process. Chalo.
The fire boy shoveled the charcoal into the maw of the furnace with great deal of clatter.
The fire boy means the apprentice. There are only two people. So the helper shoveled, or maybe there's a fire boy sitting there. We don't know. Shovel means that there's a shovel, powder, and he's putting the coal in the maw. Maw is mouth of the furnace to keep the furnace running. You have to maintain the temperature in the furnace. So again, mechanical engineering. When I was young, I had went to the Apollo Tires factory in Vadodara. Very young. I had my friend whose father was working there. I had good friends. So I would not roam around in the streets having pani puri. I told him, can we go to your father's factory? So he took me once. And then one day we realized, he told me, that they cannot keep their factory closed even for 1 minute. Because in those times, 20 years back, because if they close the factory, it would take 5 days to restart the furnace. So when the factory owner's father died, Apollo Tires, main father, owner, then also they had to keep the factory running. Why? Because if you stop the furnace, to bring it to the temperature that you need to manufacture tires or whatever the process was, it would take 5 days. So you have to continuously maintain the temperature. You want to continuously rojnu devu, roj chukvi devu, but you don't want to do it. Even furnaces, they need to keep running. But minds, they need to be empty. They need to be filled with stupid stuff. So the fire boy shoveled charcoal or coal into the maw of the furnace with great deal of clatter, because there's so much to lift and put it. So clatter, he was a small boy, barely trying to put. And if you don't study, you will have to work in places like this. So no, my father has set everything for me. That's the other problem people have. You don't study, what do you do? Majuri, labor work. And in India, labor work is also not available. Why? Because we have a population of 130, 40, 50 crore people. What labor work will you do? And the labor work which is good for us, easy for us, that we don't want to do. When everybody is wanting to help you, that labor work you don't want to do. That teacher has to tell you, right? Chalo, I don't want to waste time on empty brains.
Outside roared the waterfall, and the sharp north wind fight the rain against the brick tile.
So now it started raining. Outside roared the waterfall. It started raining, so the waterfall is also making noise. And a sharp north wind coming from the north, whipped. Whipped means clash, dashed. The rain against the brick tiled roof, so that was also making noise. Now, if the crofter had remained in the jungle, what would have happened to him? Winter, raining, wild animals, kitchad. Do you think he would have survived? Do you think he would have survived? No. Thank God he got saved. Fairy tale. But this happens in life. There are people who say, engineering students, you will learn this term and you will be very happy to learn this term. There's a term called, one is the terrorists use it, AK-47. What are these? They are assault rifles, high grade. Kill people with them. Russian made, I guess. And then there is AT-KT. They are also rifles. AT-KT means allowed to keep term. So in first year you fail 5 subjects. The college will say, allow him to keep 5 subjects and teach him 5 more subjects. And then you will have 10 in the next year and you fail those. Then you have 10 subjects and you are allowed to keep term. They push you forward and you have 10 subjects plus 5 subjects. But colleges have rules. After 20 subjects you have failed, they will say, okay, thank you very much. You are not fit for doing any kind of engineering. So they will throw you out. Amazing term. And in those classes, teachers will not teach like this. Sometimes you won't even know what will come in the paper. There will be no standard textbook. So wake up. Become a fighter. What is it called? 80? 80. And then people will think, oh, I will do, and all my things will be cleared. They might not. Fairy tales don't happen. But all of us expect nothing less than a fairy tale. But we have to expect what? Our life is a fairy tale. We wake up every day in the morning. That is a miracle of God. But we don't understand the importance after waking up our life. After we've woken up, after the God has woken up, in every day in the morning, we forget our duties and responsibilities. And we don't want to do the hard work that is easy for us, sitting in an AC classroom, so that we set up our lives for manual labor. Chalo.
It was probably on account of all these fights that the blacksmith did not notice that a man had opened the gate and entered the fort until he stood close up to the furnace.
So the peddler found his way, fairy tale, allowed to keep term, 20 subjects. He was going to die in the jungle, but with the sounds and the thing, he could reach the factory. And then factory door also he opened. And he went inside the furnace where these people were, very deep inside the furnace. And they did not come to know. Why? Because there was a lot of noise. And they were also very busy with their work. For Swami Shri, he was busy with his work. You know what I'm talking about, right? But these are just stories. Chalo, got this point?
Surely it was nothing unusual for poor without any better shelter for the night to be attracted to the force by the glow of light that escaped into the smoky pen and to come into form himself in front of the fire.
Okay, surely it was nothing unusual. It was common. Nothing unusual means common. That for poor people or poor vagabonds, people who travel from place to place without better shelter for the night, to be attracted by the forge because of the glow of the light in the dark, which escaped through the sooty panes. The sooty panes means dark windows, and to come in to warm themselves in front of the fire. Basically, they don't have home. These vagabonds, they are homeless. It is winter and they need a place with heater or fire to survive. And where do they get this natural heater and fire? In an iron mill. Because you heat the iron up, so you get warmth. It's like opposite to our things. We in the summer months we need an AC. In the winter months, people in Scandinavian countries, they need heat. So this is a natural heater. You don't have to pay any money also. They will not ask also. They will say, stay and leave. So it's a natural heater. Chalo. Clear or not clear?
The blacksmith glanced only casually and indifferently at the intruder. They looked okay, people of his type usually with a long beard, dirty, their company with a bunch of red sacks.
Okay, so the blacksmith glanced only casually and indifferently at the intruder. Intruder means uninvited person. And indifferently, means not paying attention. Because who wants to pay attention to a beggar? They say, because they are afraid. This guy might be a criminal. This guy might be carrying germs in his body. Looked at him and said, If you don't do the world will look at you like that. Sometimes you do the work also, world will look at you like that. We'll not get into the detail like that. Because anyways, we don't care. He looked the way the people of his type look. So now they are giving us, the author here is giving us the character sketch, the physical description of the peddler. How does he look? He looked the way the people of his type usually did, with a long beard, dirty, ragged, and with a bunch of rat traps dangling on his chest. You've seen Kali Mata, and she has this khopadio on her chest, har. What this guy has? She looks also dangerous, but she's killed all the demons, maybe. And this guy also looks dangerous. He has the har of rat traps on his chest. So now, if the crofter would have told the police, do you think this guy was very easy to find? Yes or no? For criminals, you might have want a character sketch. For this, do you need a character sketch? A facial sketch? No. He looks like he does. He would have been caught easily, and that is why he took the jungle path. Clear or not clear? Sure.
He asked permission to stay, and the master blacksmith nodded a body consent without offering him the
Now, this is how you treat people who are poor. If you don't raise your standards up, people will treat you like this. So he came inside the max and asked, "Can I stay here for the night?" And the master blacksmith did not say anything, not a single word. He said, haughty, arrogant consent to stay without uttering a single word. English, my dear friends. का बिहार में बताओ, लिखिए. You have to visualize all of this. And this is what will happen to us if we don't raise our standards. The world will treat us like this. Sir, my parents won't. They are your parents. They love you. But the world will. And sometimes even you do the best work, they will still treat you like this. But again, that is not our concern over here. So in the earlier paragraph, there was a character sketch of how this rat trap peddler looks. And now it is the haughty consent. Chalo.
The trap did not say anything. He had not come there to talk, but only to calm himself to sleep.
So he had not come to talk, right? He has just saved his life. And sometimes people of this character, they will say, "You're talking shit to me? Do you know who I am?" Can you talk to some people you need help from like that? And if you're a beggar, can you talk to anybody like that? It's okay. He had accepted. And if you don't treat yourself right, people will treat like you, and you will have to accept yourself the way you are, because you have not raised your standards. Clear or not clear? So we'll stop here today, because it's changing, the scene is changing, the setting is changing. We'll stop here today.